I do get people contacting me on occasion who say, do you know any good voiceover agents? To which I reply, yeah, there are loads of them. The big issue is them taking you on and you getting representation. It's tough. So a good voiceover agent is someone who will take you on. You won't have the choice, really. You'll find it very difficult to get an agent. But that's not to say you shouldn't try. When you're starting out, one of the things you've got to do yourself is to be very clear about what you're offering in terms of your voiceover capabilities, in the case of your voice acting skills and what you sound like. So don't say, oh, my voice isn't distinctive enough, because every single voice in the world is distinctive. It'll sound maybe like somebody else's a little bit, but it will be distinctively you. That'll be in the cadence, in the way you speak, the pace, the accent, the tonality of your voice, and so on. Make sure you identify what the distinctive features of your voice are. And by that, I mean, note down any accent you have. If you've got a Valley Girl accent, for example, in California, or if you've got a Geordie accent in Britain, or a London accent, or a Scottish accent, look, whatever it happens to be, note that down. If it's standard RP British English, note that down. It's part of who you are. But for goodness sake, don't say, oh, my voice sounds exactly the same as everybody else's. It doesn't. And we know it doesn't, because if you were to phone somebody up and say to them, hello, haven't spoken to you for 15 years, do you know who this is? Chances are they'll go, I know exactly who that is because I recognise your voice. And that's because all of our voices are distinctive. So put that out of your mind. Don't even feature that in any of your thought processes. What you have to do is identify your strengths and what makes you a little bit different from the next person. So like I say, it could be an accent, it could be the tonality of your voice. Maybe you've got a very deep voice, maybe you've got a very high voice, maybe you've got a bit of a husky voice, maybe it's very smooth and light, maybe it's youthful, maybe you sound quite old. That doesn't matter. You might sound like a senior, even though you're not, but you may be a senior, and put that down. Don't shy away from how you sound, because it's very, very important that a potential agent knows exactly what they're getting if they were to listen to you, or if they were to invite you in for a chat, or chat to you on the phone or Zoom or whatever. So it's really about finding something that is distinctive and different about your voice. Just sit down, go through all the elements of your voice, and ask friends and family to give their opinions too. They might say, oh, you're a fast speaker, in which case put down, pacey speaker, or I speak very slowly, or whatever. These are things that are important. You sound very happy or lively, or, loads and loads of stuff that goes in to make all of our voices distinctive. If you put them down, note them down, then a potential agent will go, okay, we're missing a voice like that. Perhaps we can take a voice like that on and represent this person. The next thing is to send the agent your demo reel, and this should be no more than 90 seconds in length, and it should show your voice off in its best light. And what the agent wants to hear is you doing various genres that they cover. So you want to do a commercial, of course. You want to do something like a bit of an audiobook excerpt, corporate material, businessy type things, educational, straight narration, maybe an on-hold phone message, something like that. Diversity is key with this. I would recommend that you do some fast things, something that's very pacey and energetic. For example, an upbeat commercial. Do something slow and mellow. Do something straight down the line, straight piece of narration, and chop it all up. Like I say, put your most impressive read first, so it really captures the attention of the agent. You don't want them to flick through or get bored after the first 5 seconds. And remember, they will probably make up their minds in the first 10 seconds, if you're lucky. So the rest of it the rest of the stuff you put on your show reel may never get heard. So make sure you start with your strongest material first. And the whole thing should be no more than 90 seconds. It's important to send them a good covering note. These days that tends to be email. You may want to be terribly old-fashioned and send them a letter with a CD, but the chances are they might not have a CD player to listen to your stuff. So you want to send your show reel as an MP3 so it's easily playable. But of course you need a covering note with that, covering email. And what I would do is introduce yourself, mention a little bit about your background. Keep it nice and short and sweet, just like your demo. You want to be as punchy as possible, but without going over the top. You want to stick to the salient points. You want to mention your background and anything you can put in to do with the voice, preferably. So if you're a teacher, for example, you can say, I've been teaching for many years, reading to the kids, reading stuff out. Even if you have no direct voiceover experience, you can bring stuff from the real world into your voiceover career. And clients are often impressed with that. Agencies are often impressed with that because it shows you haven't just been a voiceover artist all your life. You weren't born one, but you'd like to be one. But you bring something from the real world and you bring that to the party. And I'd also mention where you live, your location, and if you have a home studio or not. Hopefully you have got one. But if you haven't, well, you can leave that out. But if you have got a home studio, make sure you say that you have and it's a professional setup and so on. And then it's all ready to send off. But where do you find these agents? Well, good old Google. You can just Google away for voice acting agents near me. Here in the UK, they tend to be based largely in the big cities, particularly London, but also Birmingham, Manchester, Edinburgh, might find one in Belfast or Dublin, whatever. But here in the UK, it tends to be London. In the States, the big agencies tend to be located along the coasts, so particularly LA on the west coast and New York, of course, on the east. But there'll be lots of other agencies around too. Sometimes going for a smaller agency is better because you may end up as a big fish in a small pond, or an agency that's just starting out. However, there are some important points to bear in mind. Firstly, if you get offered a contract, read through it. If you've got a legal friend or you can access some legal advice, sometimes it's important or just a good idea to get them to check it over. But make sure it's beneficial to you and for both sides. So one of the big things is exclusivity. Are you going to be exclusive to that agent, or can you go off and do other things? The other thing to remember is, will they take a commission? Chances are they will. And what sort of commission? I would say 15 to 20% is the industry average. Any more than that, and you want to be saying, well, what do I get for that money? Are you going to really promote me? And also check that the agency doesn't want a percentage of what you're earning already or what you get yourself. So with some agents, they say, look, we'll take you on. You're being taken on by a big agency here, but we want 5%, a token gesture, 5% of what you get yourself. So say you got some work through Mandy or Voice 123 or whatever, they might say, we want 5% of that too. Now, you might go, no way, there's no way I'm giving that away. Or you might think, well, if I give them that token gesture, they hopefully will get me the bigger gigs, and that's when they'll shave off their 15 to 20%. So it's really up to you. So I would say check exclusivity. Are you going to be exclusive to that agency? And also check the percentages, that commission. And the number one rule is never pay an agent any money up front. Legitimate agents work purely on commission. They do not charge you a fee. They will just take the commission as and when they get you the work. And finally, I would say be patient. These agencies get lots of submissions every week. You're going to be another one coming through the system, and it takes time. But feel free to follow up. So if you haven't heard anything within a couple of months or so, you may just want to gently follow it up, maybe with a phone call, and just say, hey, I sent you an email, hope it didn't get lost in spam, and I sent you my demo. Is there any chance you can review it? If not, I'll resend it. No harm at all in doing that. That's what agents are for. They're looking for new talent all the time. They're looking for something that is going to be the next big thing, and that could be you. All right, thanks very much for watching today. Look after your voice, and I'll see you next time.